Kel, I don't know what you did the Sunday right before you started here, but the Sunday before I started was the founding pastor's last Sunday. And I just wanted all the attention, all the spotlight on her. So I attended another church with my wife, Sarah. We didn't have kids yet. And it was Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church, which was pastored by Walter Gibson. And we went there, and there's this thing that happened that day that I will never forget. It is seared in my memory as a pastor. He had a volunteer come up. It was a grandmother who came up, and he introduced her, and he said that she had her car break down on Wednesday, and she was a volunteer for the Wednesday night kids ministry. And so instead of calling in and saying, hey, I can't be there, my car broke down. I mean, if a volunteer called us and said my car broke down, we'd be like, okay, that's fine. That's a perfectly socially acceptable reason not to show up for your commitment. But instead of doing that, she called a taxi and took a taxi to the church to keep her volunteer commitment to the kids at that church. I mean, that's serious commitment. And he just celebrated that. And then what he did next floored me. He told the church, today we're going to buy her a new car.
Wow.
So she at that point was she didn't know this was coming.
Right.
She's just tears flowing down her face. He's got two ushers that are standing on each side of her, both of them holding giving plates. And literally the ushers came and dismissed us row by row.
Wow.
And every single one of us walked by and put money in the offering plate for her to get a new car.
Wow.
And of course, when our row came, Sarah and I got up and I walked forward, and I was still carrying a wallet at that time. And I just took all the cash out of my wallet and put it in the offering plate to buy her a car. I talked to him about that many years later, and he still remembered it as well. He had forgotten that we were there. But he remembered that time and how powerful that was. And I think that moment displayed a truth about discipleship, about following Jesus, that serving and generosity go hand in hand. Volunteering, serving other people, serving the church, the community, and the world, and generosity, how we serve with our money, those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, and they go hand in hand, like in the mission of Jesus.
Yes.
And we see that mission all over the world. And here at Sycamore Creek, our mission is that we exist to ignite authentic life in Christ and fan it into an all-consuming flame. And we've talked about this earlier in the series, but like, it's not just the authentic life, but it's the authentic life in Christ.
In Christ.
Yeah.
That's a really important part of it. So Jesus describes himself and what he's all about, and he contrasts himself with a thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he says, instead of that, I came that you might have life and have it abundantly. There's an abundant life when we follow Jesus.
And then Paul, later, he's mentoring Timothy on how to help rich members of the church give generously and share what they have and to do good. And he says, take hold of the life that really is life. Like there's something to that. That's the life that really is life. Because serving and generosity go hand in hand in the mission of Jesus in the world.
It's just all different ways of saying authentic life in Christ. It's authentic. It's the life that really is life. It's abundant life. And generosity and serving go hand in hand in that respect. So through this series, we've been describing our vision frame, our mission, which we just talked about, our values to be curious, creative, and compassionate, our strategy to connect, grow, and serve, and our measures, the kind of Christian that we're trying to form and develop is to Christians who do no harm, do good, and stay in love with God.
Yeah. And we accomplish this mission, like we've been talking about, by connecting with God and others, growing in the character of Christ, and serving the church, the community, and the world. And today we're specifically going to be talking about serving.
Yeah, the back end of that strategy, serving the church, the community, and the world. Now, we're doing this particular series at this time because we just adopted a church, Asbury United Methodist Church, and they were members of Asbury, and in the adoption, they all became partners of Sycamore Creek, but we never had them go through a partnership class, so we're introducing them to the commitments of what it means to partner with us in mission. And if someone is attending through this series and they've never gone through any of that, then at the end of this, they can decide to be a partner as well. And for people who are already partners in our mission, well, this is just an opportunity for us to reflect back on the commitments and recommit to those connecting, growing, and serving that we made when we all became partners.
Yeah. And the series started in week 1 with Kathy Doby sharing like why partnership, why we should partner, what is the church. She shared some metaphors with us about all that.
And then in the second week, I talked about how we connect with God and with others.
Mm-hmm. The third week, we talked about growing in our relationship with Christ and being transformed by Christ.
And then today we're talking about serving the church, the community, and the world. And there's one more week.
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about baptism, which is entrance into the family of Christ.
So when we look at our vision frame and we talk about our measures, doing no harm, doing good, and staying in love with God, there's some ways that they connect with what we're talking about today, particularly that commitment to do good. Do all the good you can in all the places you can, to all the people you can, so on and so forth. Basically, like just intentionally look for ways to do good all of the time. And we've created an inventory for people to kind of examine their own life and their soul and to ask, are there places where I am doing good?
Mm-hmm. And some examples of that are like leading a small group, giving to mission, engaging in anti-racism work. And so we have a question for you. You can turn to a neighbor or put it in the chat. What are your favorite ways to do good?